everyone, and welcome to Synergy and Multifamily Growth and Mindset Talks. My name is Jahira Campizano with Blackbridge Capital Partners. I wanted to first thank Cyndee and Andrew for coming back one more time. You guys have no idea how grateful we are to have you guys here again. Last time we spoke so much that we didn't get through it all, but it was an experience.
We have a lot to talk about today. We're super excited. Cyndee and I have been chatting about some new topics, and we want to get your topics and we want to answer questions, but there's a lot of crazy things going on that we're personally dealing with, and we wanted to share it with you guys. So it's real stuff. You guys are going to hear real stuff that we're currently working on.
So my question for you and Cyndee to start off with, just because, since the last time we had you guys here, a lot has been going on. I mean, you guys have created, you guys have launched, and you guys have successfully completed your asset management class.
That
that is amazing. So true. Thank you for that intro. That's awesome. Yes, absolutely. We've been
yes,
busy.
just a little bit. Yes.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Just a little bit. So I would
Yeah,
love to know, how did that experience go? I mean, creating, launching, already successfully having students, share their experience and giving great feedback. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well,
Cyndee.
it all started with Andrew and I talking and realizing that there is such a need in the MFM space that we just everyone, is looking at multifamily, and we're trying to buy these assets and run them. And once you get one, what do you do with it then? And I think there's such a need in multifamily. And we thought, well, we know what we're doing and we want to share it with people. I felt like I was talking with people all the time, just trying to help them and get them headed down the right path. But you can't hold everyone's hand. And so we decided to collaborate. We met many times and decided, okay, we can do this. Let's just come up, with a curriculum. And the whole thing is designed around a year of an asset manager. So we do every Monday, we do a day in the life of an asset manager. Literally, it is what we've done that day. I mean, honestly, it's whatever we had to deal with that day. We talk about it. How did we handle it, good or bad? And then the course is basically, what do you have to do in a year's time? What do you do weekly? What do you do monthly, quarterly, and then in the year? And it's
Yep.
designed to help people to know what they need to do to have a successful first year. We try to take all of the steep learning out of it. We provide them with templates, real life scenario. I personally loved the class. I was so sad when it came to an end. I just felt like we had really gotten to know and love those students. We had
Hmm.
students that actually got properties while the class was going. So it was amazing to be a part of that journey where they applied what they learned in the class. In
Real
fact, we
time.
had
Yeah.
one particular incident. Well, not more, we had way more than one, but we had one that I'm going to let Andrew tell you about it because it was mind blowing. Tell him, Andrew.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yes. It's like one of those scenarios where it's serendipity. Like it literally happened at the exact time we were teaching and instructing these students what to do in real life scenarios. So we had two students who are partners. They just acquired a property within that time frame of the master class, and they were going through it. They were having so much trouble with their on-site. And asset management is not always rainbows and butterflies. Let's just get that out of the way right now. It's not always that way. Sometimes you're on the verge of firing your property management company. And that's exactly where they were at this point. They were on the verge of firing their property manager. So during the class, Cyndee's going over what to ask for in terms of asset management, how to instruct. And I was giving the leadership part of things. And they said, hey, we have a question. We're just really, really struggling with this property manager. She's not opening up. She's not engaging. She's not participating. She's just closed shell. And so Cyndee and I were actually like, we would love to, give you some coaching and tell you exactly what to do. implement these steps and let's see how it goes. So they did. They took exactly what the course instructed to do. They implemented it. And then on the very next meeting, they're like, oh my gosh, we have to stop. We have to tell you exactly what happened. And so they were able to utilize the tools that we gave them. And the manager went 180, like completely new person, new engagement, so responsive, so thankful. Like, hey, I didn't know who you were before, but now I understand your vision and your goal and what you're trying to achieve here. And she literally lit up. She like they were like, she is a completely new manager. Like, we don't have to fire her, we don't have to get rid of her. So yes, the communication was key, the engagement was key, the just knowing where they're coming from. Like, hey, we're not here just to be some boss and take over and tell you what to do. Like, we want your input, but at the same time, we have a goal in mind, and this is our vision. And by explaining everything and working through everything, it made a world of difference. But it was so impactful because it literally happened the same time we were teaching it. And so they got to apply it in real time, which was amazing. So yeah, it was great. Great example. Great success story.
I was just about to say, like, being in the program and seeing your education coming to life, really, that is
Yes.
to be just, I don't know,
So
like
fulfilling for everybody.
Yeah, everyone in
Yeah.
the class like, oh my gosh, this is amazing because we just saw it happen. And
yeah,
it
and
was
it makes it real.
it was real life. And that's one of the things that we try to tell people that are considering taking the class. This is real life. We're not going to give you kind of false scenarios and it's real life. This is what's going on in properties at this time. I manage 9 properties, and Andrew has his own property management business. So what we're telling you is the real deal. These are not made up scenarios. This is what has actually happened. This is how it was handled. And sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, but we want you to learn. And we don't want you to
Yep.
make the mistakes we did. So that's the whole process, is we're doing it together. Uh, as far as the leadership part goes, I've learned a couple of things from Andrew. One of the things that he does in his property management business is when someone walks in, the on-site stands up. I had never even thought about that. It's just a sign of respect. I mean, I've thought about that part of it, but I with my own dealing with my own property management when I'm talking with them. And so when we had our call one week, I ask in every PM meeting, do you guys stand up when residents or anyone comes in? And they're all like, yeah, we do. And I thought, don't. And I said, yes, you do. You do now. And so it's just been an interesting learning experience for me, being the yin, and he's the yang. And we just learn from each other as we're teaching this together. So it is a learning, growing experience. And I have to say, we have so much fun, and
Yep.
we
I
learn
was just gonna say that.
in the class,
We
everyone.
have so much fun. Yeah, it's a great engaging, and students are engaging, we're engaging, we're learning from them, they're teaching us, and of course we're giving instruction to them. And it's like the class that you would want in college. You're like, man, I wish it was so helpful and engaging, not just theory. So boring. Theory, theory, theory. Like, no, we're teaching you the good, the bad, the ugly, everything. So you could use it in real life.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I have to ask, because I know I saw that you guys started doing the day in the life on Mondays. How do you guys feel like your turnover, like not turnover, I'm thinking something different right now, but your engagement has been? Because obviously you guys have the class, but those Monday, like, just quick check-ins, like I've seen a couple people on there, I've noticed.
Yeah, we hope
Yeah.
people, I mean, that's what we want. We want people to know that you don't have to attend our class to learn. We always want to be helping people to be better asset managers.
Yep.
And as we learn new techniques, I mean, you have to think about this. The industry is constantly changing. And what you could do 3, 5 years ago does not apply today. So if you have someone that's been an asset manager for 10 years, the way they did it 10 years ago does not work today. So what we do is we're always learning. We're always trying to try new ways and new ideas. So that's what Monday is us trying to give good content. We want people to be the very best asset manager they can be. And so that's why we do it.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I
Kevin,
saw something pop up real quick.
I was
I
gonna
just
say,
wanted to speak. Sorry.
no, go ahead.
Um,
Actually, that was my next question to you guys. Where can we
yes.
find those? Oh, I know where I can find them because
Yeah.
I'm waiting for you guys.
So
But
I
can
was gonna
we
say,
ask?
sorry, there's a little bit of a delay. I was gonna say on Mondays we are meeting Facebook Live right now. So Cyndee primarily, if you're not following Cyndee, do that right now. Write it down. Cyndee Harding, follow her, the asset manager. For simplicity reasons, we are using a Zoom link, but we're streaming it to Facebook Live. We could be changing that if we like more people. We like people who do want to do Zoom. Then put that in the comments right here. If you're like Facebook Live, do that as well. But the purpose of it as well, I want to piggyback what Cyndee said, is we want to make it to where everyone can learn. It doesn't have to be you have to. We don't want to require somebody. Everyone has different expenses and family dynamics and situations like that. So it shouldn't prevent you from learning the role of asset manager. The difference is, if you're engaged in a 12-week, 2-hour enclosed course, you're going to learn it that much faster. But if you're not in a position right now, who are we to say you can't learn? And who are we to say we can't help you? So we do. At the end of the day, out of our core values, we want to help everyone. So that's why we offer a day in the life of an asset manager. We talk about. We want to come onto these podcasts and share with you real life experiences, answer questions that you're having. So if you're currently struggling with the property or you're just trying to get on a team as an asset manager, let's talk about it. Let's talk about let's bring light to things that you're struggling with, because that's the only way you're going to get through it. It's just, we got to bring it to the light.
Absolutely. So you guys heard it here. Ask questions, reach out, give them feedback. Feedback helps so much because they all know what they can expand on, what you guys need. I I have to say, what advice, right, can you give new syndicators or old syndicators, seasoned syndicators, we'll say, um, you know, when they're entering asset management, when they're thinking about, oh, maybe this is where I want to kind of be my main focus.
Yeah, Cyndee, do you want to start?
Well, my advice is if you are the type of person that you want to watch over the property, because people have different things that they like. Capital raisers, they like going out, talking to people, raising the money. If you like digging in and doing the numbers and seeing if it's going to work, that's acquisitions. For me, my background was accounting, but you don't have to have accounting background. What I like is watching over the property, going into kind of the minutia of it all every week, every month. What's happening at the property? I want to do that week after week. I want to see the property grow. I want to take the business plan and execute it. So it doesn't bother me that I have a 5-year plan with this property. I want to see it start to finish. So if that's something that you like starting it and finishing it, seeing it all the way through and watching that, you got to deal with the ups and downs. You've got, it's kind of a bell curve when we talk about the calendar year. When is it slow? When is it busy? When you want, if you like that type of thing, then asset managing is a good role for you. And you like detail, you got to be into detail. So, those things that make an asset manager in multifamily in the past, it really hasn't been a role where someone has really been picked to do it or assigned to do it. It's just kind of been, I don't know, kind of the short straw. I hate to say it. If you've had a team, it's been the front runners have been the capital raisers. I'm going to raise the money. And, you've got the acquisitions team. I'm going to go find the deal. And then the person kind of was like, well, I guess I'll asset manage. That's not the way it is anymore. The asset manager needs to lead the charge. They need to say, I can make this property work. You can take a mediocre property with a good asset manager and make great money. And you can have a really good deal and a poor asset manager, and you can lose your shirt. So that's where we're at now. So asset management really is going to be the make it or break it of the future. So what we're trying to do is educate people on the things to watch for and how to mitigate your risk on that and how to forward think. We're really big into
Mm,
forward. We have, three focuses at Yin Yang that we work on, and one of them is the forward thinking, how to project and how to look ahead so that people are prepared. We can do anything as long as we're prepared.
I love. Oh my gosh, she is good. You guys, she is dropping knowledge for those of you
That's
right
it.
now. Like seriously, this is fire. This is straight fire. I'm like, I'm not even cold anymore. I'm gonna take my jacket off because it's so warm up in here. This is awesome.
Oh, I love that. So, Andrew, did you want to add or can I
I mean,
go on to my next?
she nailed it. I mean, for those of you who are on the fence and you don't know if you want to be asset managers or not, do you like do you like tough jobs? This is one of the toughest jobs out in the GP roles positions. Period. I don't like. I'll argue with anybody who says differently because if you think of like she said, you're doing acquisitions. Yes, it's a relationship. It's very detail oriented. You're making relationships. You have to stay in contact, follow up for deals and broker relations and raising money is an art as well. There's no other role that's you're going to stick with that for 3 to 5 to 7 years. Period. It's just you're not. So you're going to work with people for a period of time, but like over a couple of months to maybe a year, at some point that broker is going to give you something that like even a blind squirrel will find a nut at some point. So you're going to find the deal, but it's an art. You're going to go. This asset management is a roller coaster of emotions. You're going to be doing amazing 1 month, and then all of a sudden, oh my gosh, this is crazy. Like we're and the dumps. We have nobody's paying rent. We want to talk about that. Like right now, what's going on with delinquency right now? What's going on with renewals? People moving out? How do you close the back door? How do you keep people in? That's a big topic for Cyndee and I right now. So if the time allows, but yeah, it's tough. I'll let you know. But Cyndee was just dropping straight knowledge right there. It is a very tough role, but if you're open to the challenge and you love creating and building a culture and making things successful, if you're like a project manager and you have project management experience, this could be an amazing role for you.
Thank you. So to expand on that, right? My question would be, how do you guys handle unexpected challenges and crises that arrive within your properties? Because like you just said, it is a tough role and sometimes you have to have those creative solutions. And you guys are sharing it with us on Mondays, but when things are happening, like how do you guys handle that pressure?
I am going to let Andrew answer that because this is where he really teaches this in our course.
Thank you. Thank you. So I was like, I hope she lets me go first because I want to jump on this topic real so bad. Okay.
Hey.
So yes, it is rough. Like there's gonna be things that even come to my plate, and I'm like, holy smokes, I don't know. I've never been through that. Guys, I'm telling you right now, this is recording. You're gonna get hit things that you've never dealt with before, regardless of how much experience you've had. But the key to it is you're not alone. I got that advice from me for a long time ago where I thought I was just like this one person on the island and I have to figure everything out by myself. It's not true. There's a lot of times there's other operators within your realm, within your sphere of influence, within your network that probably have gone through that same thing. So for the times that you've never, ever, ever like just way off in left field, you have no idea what's going on, take a moment, slow down for a second, and say, hey, let me look into this or give me just a few minutes. Let me just make a phone call or something and just reach out to like a Cyndee or myself. If it's nothing like fire, flood, or blood, right? That's different. Fire, flood, or blood, there's a fire going on. Okay. We talk about it in a day in the life. I talked about medical triage. Okay. So for those who are aware, medical triage means you start where your feet are, and you assess and like take care of the most severe situation possible. What I mean by that is like I gave the analogy like if you have a paper cut versus your arm is cut off, what's going to take precedent, right? The arm that's cut off. That has to be addressed first. So there's going to be things that are going to happen to you, whether like if there's a fire in a building, we'll use common sense. What do? You call the fire department. Let's just take care of the fire first, get that addressed, make sure there's life and safety, things are being handled, but you have to like just take care of the immediate issue first. Once things are starting settling down, you should reach out to somebody in your team, whether that's your sponsor, or another co-person on your asset management team. If not, reach out to Cyndee and I and say, hey, Andrew, we have a situation. This is going on. What's going on? What do I do? How do I submit a claim? What do I do insurance wise? How do I notify the GPs? Like, you guys need to work together. That's the whole purpose of the syndication, is working as a team, right? So lean on the people who have 20, like that's why you have a sponsor. If you think about it, sponsor's going to probably be like Rob Roswell, for example. He's had, unfortunately, so many different fires. He could probably do it in his sleep and give you guidance on what's going on. And I know if he's on this call, he'd probably say the same thing. Like, man, I've had so many. Watch his social. He's had so many buildings, unfortunately, have fires. He knows what to do. So, and like again, we lean on each other because this is a small network. So lean on each other, find out, ask questions, call me, call Cyndee, and I'll see where you're at in this process. But I'm gonna leave you with this. There was one situation where I was on site at the time and I made a big mistake. I let somebody inside a unit that's called hot, which means in the industry means the roof is hot, meaning asbestos was inside. And I was like, holy smokes, I just got fired. I called my wife. I'll give you the abbreviated version. I called my wife and I said, honey, I'm gonna get fired. For sure, I'm gonna get fired. I know I messed up. I didn't post the right notices, say don't go in there. One of my leasing people went in there with a guest, and I was like, I'm done. I'm never gonna do property management again. So at that point in time, I called my legal team. I was like, hey, I just want to let you know I'm looking for some guidance. I made a mistake. And the person who answered was an angel sent from heaven. She said, Andrew, you did the right thing. You called me. I've been through this before. I'm going to walk you through step by step. I'm going to hold your hand and we're going to get through this together. Guys, I almost fell on my knees crying. I was like, thank you, Lord, for sending this angel to me, because I freaked out. I called my wife and I said I was being fired because I thought I put this person's life, like, first of all, life and safety in jeopardy. And so I just was scared. I was like early in my career. I was super scared. I called my legal team and they're like, Andrew, you're okay. We're going to walk you through this. Don't worry. We're going to take the proper steps to make sure everything's taken care of and okay. And she did. And it was fine. I didn't lose my job. Obviously, that was years and years and years ago. I'm still in this industry 16 years. Yeah, something like 16 years later. But you got to just reach out. Don't get scared and try to do it yourself. That's the worst thing you can do. Like, I'm going to just not tell anybody and hunker down and figure this out myself. No, you need to ask for guidance, for some help, trust in somebody, a mentor that you want to look for. And whoa, what the heck? Is there fireworks behind me? I don't know what's going
Oh,
on.
the celebration, dog. You still
Oh,
did
okay.
your job, Andrew.
Yeah, I was like, wow. And
That's
I
how
worked
powerful
through.
that message was.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. The Zoom was like, man, we're gonna give you fireworks for that. But that's just a small example, guys. There's so many things that I've tripped and fell so many times, and I've learned for so many different things. So reach out to me. I could tell you all the good, the bad, the ugly, and Cyndee can do the same. So I'll let Cyndee. I don't know if Cyndee wants to share anything as well.
But it's true. But as an asset manager, when things happen, you are the leader. People are going to turn to you. And so
Yep.
you have to be very level headed. And even if you don't know what to do at that moment, you just need to say, give me just a moment.
Yep.
And you either call someone and find out what to do, or you just take a second and think it through. And then you come up with an answer. You cannot be the one that's the Chicken Little running around. And so that's what we teach in the class, is that you are the leader. And it may not come to you naturally, but through Andrew's leadership part of the class, you become a leader. You learn how to step into that role. So you may say, oh, I'm just not a leader. Oh, I can't do it. You can. It's a skill. It's a skill that you learn, and you will learn it. And they will turn to you for that. So that is the major part of it, is that you are the leader.
Yeah, the last thing I'll say is, in those examples, I call it, be the firefighter, right? So when emergency happens and the firefighter shows up, like Cyndee said, they're not, oh my God, what's going on? What, I don't know what to do. I'm so scared. Like, no, calm, collected. All right, tell me the situation. I'm gonna assess it, and we're ultimately gonna make a decision. And I'm gonna make a decision if I can make a decision. So yeah, I love that. Thank you for pointing that out, because it's so true. Like, the leadership part of you is really gonna shine, but you want to be that sound, like I said, the attorney. It's okay. We're gonna get through this together, Cyndee. Thank you for calling me, bringing it to my attention. We're gonna work on a game plan and then take action.
Yeah, and I would say that like that's again emphasizing like the relationships we have here in this business. They're so important to cultivate, to be able to say, hey, I can call Andrew if I have an issue and he's gonna answer. He's gonna, give me that lifeline that I need. I can call Cyndee. Cyndee knows what to do in this situation. I'm clueless maybe, and like you guys said, like a chicken without its head, right? It's you definitely don't want to be that person. So again, emphasizing relationships, just and being open and vulnerable enough to be like, hey, I made a mistake. Can you help me? Because it takes a lot. Um, Sometimes we have egos and we have to like look at ourselves and be like, cut it out. I need the help, right? And it's quite okay to ask for help. So we did get some
Yeah.
questions come in the chat, and I'd love to just kind of tackle those. The first question that Rashmi shared was, how do you use AI in asset management in today's world?
Yeah. Go ahead, Cyndee. Sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I think you have to be very careful with AI, because in asset management, there are ways that you can use it as a tool, but there is a real human component with AI because you are dealing with people and the complexity that goes with them. So, some of the ways that you can use AI would be, I know that there's like meter lease. I personally don't use it, but I know that you can have that where they, contact people when they're looking for an apartment that help them kind of narrow down like what they're looking for. That will save your on-site, having to uh, call back people where it gets more into line of what they're actually looking for. So that can save time. Um, Other than that, I use I have something that I was using that was an AI, but it didn't really fulfill my needs, so I'm not using it anymore.
Yeah,
I'm not
you could do auto
sure.
response for tours. So you could say, "Hey, I'm looking for an apartment," and then it's going to say, "What kind of apartment are you looking for? 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, blah blah blah." And so you could tell it what you have available, and then it automatically will know, okay, you're 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom. When is your move date? It could ask you very simple questions to streamline the funnel to where ultimately now you're creating an appointment, and then now your leasing team, especially if you have small leasing offices, guys, like if you don't have that many units, you're not having a leasing manager, leasing consultants, all these people, supplying you. So AI can absolutely help you with that. The other thing that's very popular that I'm seeing, especially here in California, is individual like do it yourself tours. Like first, like you're not walking with anybody. It's crazy. This is the craziest thing. So I download an app, right? And I show up to my appointment. I check you with my ID, and then that's it. They give me this. They go through the app, and I'm doing my own tour by myself. There's no leasing consultant. And so what it does, it virtually tells me how to go from the leasing office through what's called the tour path or the leasing path, it's called in the industry. And what it does, it's walking me through the amenities. So now it's telling me to go to the pool. Then it tells me to go to the gym. And you're going to go down to this door, 213. When you make a left, you're going to see this model that you want to see, right? You want to see the 2 bedroom that you inquired about. So then you use the key. It's a key fob. You go in there. As soon as you open the door, click, all the lights come on. The music's coming on. It's like, whoa, what the heck? It's artificial, but it's no leasing consultant. So there are programs that you can do that actually will have you go through a full automated tour. As soon as you're done, it asks you, what did you think of this unit? Did you like it? Did you not like it? And if you didn't like it, great. We have the next one ready to show you. And then it takes you to the next one. And so it starts telling you where to go for the next one. Like you didn't like that 1 bedroom, let me show you the 2 bedroom you're also interested in. And it kind of walks you through. It's like it's crazy. So we have to be open-minded. We have to be thinking because again, some of these properties you don't have the leasing staff that you want, or you may just want to streamline expenses and you invest in one of these artificial intelligent auto tours, right? So that's how I personally see it going. Um, Unfortunately, it's kind of one of those situations where now we're like, you're not getting these leasing consultants. Now you have a computer doing it. So there is an expense. It's not free. You have to invest in it. But if anyone is interested in learning more, just DM me or email me. I'll put my information. I'll try to put my information here and we could chat about it offline because that's more of like property management specific. because your property manager has to invest also with that as well and be invested with it.
Yeah. I think also too, you have to know your demographics on that. So I have 4 properties in a really small town, and I guarantee you that would not work there. They would be like, "What's this fandangled thing?" They they they
might ask you to be on payroll.
Yeah, right.
you on payroll, but I don't know that would get very many residents that would they want someone to walk them and to talk with them about it. But there are probably other places that would work really well that people have very limited time. So yeah, I think it would really depend on your demographics on that. So
For sure.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for sharing that. We had a great question, and yeah, Rajmi, you can chat with Andrew with that online as well afterwards on that. It's very property management specific. Thank you for the questions too. Another question that she also had was, what KPIs do you use, and do you use it on PM or management more than the business plan, or both?
for me, I use both. But mainly with the KPIs, I use them to tell me how the property management is doing. I don't necessarily report it to them, but I report those to the GP. So basically, I'm looking at the average rent. I'm looking at what our NOI is, our total income, our total expenses, what's the percentage, what's our delinquency running. So I do those every month. And then I report those to the GP. Now, occasionally, especially with like delinquencies, I do talk with the property management about that, how we're running with delinquencies. So, I mean, those are topics that I have with them actually on a weekly basis. We see where we are. Are we, collecting? How is that going? Renewals, I talk with them weekly about their renewals because we have, every month, and what is the notice to vacate looking like? So I do run my KPIs. I go over those with the property management, but number wise, the matrix of it, I talk with the GPs, if that makes sense.
I was going to say the KPIs that I specifically focus on, that the way that I see KPIs is like, I go to the medical field because there's probably a lot of nurses or doctors or just people in the medical field in general, they understand the concepts. So KPIs to me is like the blood pressure, your heart rate of the human, right? But KPIs to me is like that blood pressure, the heart rate of the building, of the asset, of the business plan. So for me, something that's very important to me is your occupancy. How many heads are in beds? What is your availability? And the true meaning of availability means how many units are vacant at the moment, as well as on notice. People aren't talking about that, but your on notice is a huge number because I could be sitting 95%. But if I'm not digging in to the availability, guys, availability is vacant plus on notice. So you can look at your 8-week projection and say, yeah, I'm sitting pretty at 95, 97%. But in the next 2 months, right, 8-week projection, you're going to tank, right? Because you're just losing all of these people. So what goes with availability is your renewal capture ratio. What is your renewal goal? For me, I have always had my properties at 70%, usually, because they're not a lease up situation, or they're not lease ups. They're not a heavy remodel. So I like to keep people flowing. And again, I'm okay with people leaving, right? Because that's a great average market rent, or my average in place rents is another one. I want to know what my average rents are, right? What is my growth? I want to see that. And the other thing too is maintenance completion times. It's not sexy, but really maintenance completion time should be one of your KPIs. Why? And I've said this before, the number one reason why people move out, deferred maintenance. So if you're not checking your pulse and seeing what those maintenance completion times are, and you're seeing it go from 48 hours, you get it done in 2 days, then it goes 72, then it goes 4 days, 5 days, and now it's like trickling downward. Guess what, guys? It's like a domino effect. Maintenance completion's not getting done. You're going to start noticing your renewal capture ratio is going to start dipping. Next thing you know, your availability goes up, and next thing, your occupancy goes down. Do you see how all of those start to, it's a domino effect? So that's why for me, those are some of my really key point KPIs, and rating. I used to have one of my on my big board in the back of the office was what is our current property rating? What do people think about us on apartments.com, google.com, yelp.com, whatever's in your area, you need to bring light to what's working and what's not working. So those are my personal KPIs. And again, there's a lot more, but those are like the real ones that I personally focused on. Because if I could get that done, I know everything's either going to go positive, or if I don't pay attention, everything is going to go really south really quick.
To just expand on that. So,
Oh, sorry about that, guy. No worries, the little one's over here.
Okay.
Yeah, just to transition over into the next question as well. How do you two work with the investor relations to communicate to investors on pivots that you want to make in your business plan? This is directed to both of you as well.
Yep. Cyndee, do you want to go first?
Well, what we do, it depends on the different sponsors. So basically, the sponsors kind of decide the role that the asset management takes in talking with investors, because the sponsor or whoever is leading the investor relations, they're the ones that actually talk to the investors. So some want the asset manager to talk with the investors and say, this is what's going on. Some, they want to talk to the investors. So basically, asset managers gather information and they provide that to the GPs, who then in turn talk to the investors. I have some who want the asset managers to tell them what's going on at the properties. So it really depends. So some, I just provide financial information. This is what's going on financially at the property, because that's really what my wheelhouse is. I have others that want me to tell them all the things that are going on. You know, what's happening with CapEx, what's happening with the interiors, what are we doing? So it really depends on the team that you're on, and that's what you want to know up front, like, you know, as the asset manager. And then I always encourage people to create an asset management team. This is something, it's a new concept, but we teach it in the class, and I do have people that are using this to create a team. And so that would be something that you would want to talk with the GPs and say, we have an asset management team. Would you like us to create either the monthly or quarterly reports for the investors? So that would be something that would be determined, you know, on a property basis.
Okay, so I'm going to flip it a little bit because I'm going to speak from my personal experience. But from me as an LP, because I'm an LP on a deal, I want to know what the heck you guys are doing on these properties, right? Like, where's my money? I gave you guys 50, 100, 250, $500,000. Where's my money going to work? So I, as an investor, want to know, like, hey, and team of or group of investors, this is the projects that we've been working on. Because obviously you sold me an OM, right? You sold me on this vision, this plan, this business plan that you're going to implement. We're bringing in new property management. We have all these CapEx projects. We're going to be doing all these amazing things on site with these new upgrades. Well, show me where my money's going, guys. Like, so those are the type of things that I really appreciate as an investor myself. I want to know, like, yeah, that playground got redone, or the building got repainted, or we did the new countertops, and this is what the new finishes look like. We've already completed this many. So that's what I appreciate. So I really truly believe asset management and investor relations can be great partners together, because guess what? The asset management role is helping the investor relations, because you guys don't want to do, raise your hand if you want to do one deal and be done. Hopefully everyone's hands down. Everyone wants to do multiple deals, right? So this is something where you have great connections with your investor relations, and that person who just gave you, because think about it, if I've never worked with you before, I'm probably going to give you the minimum. Let's be honest. I'm going to give you the minimum investment. And then next time, if Cyndee's giving me distributions, next time that she's like, hey, I got this new deal, Andrew, I'm ready to go. Ooh, show me the money, girl. Where are we going? We're going to be in Lubbock, Texas. All right, let's go to Lubbock, Texas, or wherever we're going. Here's 250,000, because the 100,000 I gave you was, now if you think about it, I'm losing money. Like, oh, dang it, I should have put 250,000. I only did 100,000. I'm making all this money. So that's where I feel like you as an asset manager, investor relations can be a great partnership.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. And I think the asset management team could do the best job creating the information for the investors because they know what's going on the property.
I love that. I love that as an investor relations myself, that I feel like that would make sense to have that relationship so close knit so that my investors are getting firsthand experience in a sense, right? So firsthand research, primary research.
Mm-hmm.
To kind of loop back to what you guys were saying about like leasing and apartments, right? Rent. My one of my questions that I wanted to ask you guys was, can you share some insights on your approach to maximizing, right, or like your optimization for strategies for leasing and renting out these apartments?
Well, one of the things that we do is a market survey. So we want to make sure that we're competitive. You never want to be at the top of the market. You don't want to be the most expensive. You don't want to be the cheapest. You want to be about 2/3 of the way up the list. So we do a market survey, usually at least once a month. And we might go 2 months if we're pretty steady, depending on what our vacancy is. So we do try and keep a good eye on that so that we know that we are competitive. Um, and we do look and see what's happening in the area. You know, are new jobs coming in? That's one of the things that we can see. If there's going to be a higher demand, then we know that we can bump it just a little bit. It also depends on what we're doing on the property. We have one property where we are doing a pretty big renovation. So renewals are just $150 a month. That means we've really done nothing because we are so below market. But if we're renovating the unit, we're putting in new appliances, new flooring, new countertops, new lighting, we're actually getting $300 a month rent increase, which is a little bit unheard of in today's market just because the way it's shifted. So I think you have to know your demographics. You have to know who's renting your units, what town you're in, you know, what's going on in the town. I will say that one of the things that we did is we were having a property that I have in a different state. We were having a hard time getting leases. We were having hard time getting people in the door. And we started looking at our demographics, and the ads that we were running were all in English. And we had a huge Hispanic population. And so I started talking with the on-site who was fluent in Spanish. And I'm like, are you running ads in Spanish? And he was like, no. And I'm like, why not? And he's like, I don't know. And so we started running ads in English and Spanish. Guess what? We started getting a huge influx of people that could speak Spanish or did speak Spanish. And so that really helped getting people in the door to take the tours and sign leases. So I think it's being aware of who are your potential residents and looking and seeing what will appeal to them. How do we get them in the door? And that's just being aware of who are your potential residents.
Yeah, so this is a very engaging question. There's multiple levels that I want to share, but yeah, Cyndee gives some great insights. I have some additions to that, but to increase leasing velocity and help improve, you really, again, it's asking questions, finding out what's preventing people from leasing. I would always have my leasing team ask, hey, Cyndee, thanks for stopping by and touring and so on and so forth. Tell me a little bit about your experience and ultimately what led you to not lease. And they might tell you, hey, you know what? It wasn't the right fit. You're too expensive. Okay, great. Where did you end up leasing? Oh, I leased right across the street. Great. What was the reason? Like you can ask questions, guys. They're people are willing to give you answers. Oh, it was a better price. I found the same exact thing for less. So that goes to what Cyndee said about a market analysis. You need to see what your market comps are. Maybe they're getting the same style of apartment for $200 cheaper. And so they didn't want to go with you. The other thing is like, how does your property look? Go to basics, like property management 101. Like look at your property and what does it look like? What is your curb appeal? What I mean by curb appeal is how does a property look? If I'm driving by and I'm coming to tour, is it trash and poop all over the grass? Well, guess what? You're not making your best first impression. So you have to make sure that you're going to the basics, making sure your property looks amazing, making sure you're priced at the right thing. Now going intricacies of the, like you said, she said, what is your demographic? If you look at the average income, and then you also look at this is how deep, like, down the rabbit hole that I go, is I look, okay, well, my minimum qualifications is a minimum of 2.5 times the rent amount is for your income qualifications. That's just mine. Whatever your property management is their own. But if I'm outpricing my demographics, let's say I have a 1 bedroom for the average one person, and they have to be making 2.5 times the rent amount in order to afford my rents, and their income is not even anywhere close going to make it, then I'm not making it easy for them. Least path of least resistance, right? I'm outpricing people. This is crazy. Like, I'm not going to get these people because they're not going to come here. That's not my demographic that I'm catering to. And looking at the jobs, but if I, those type of things, if I'm at also the opposite spectrum, let's say I'm 99%, 100% occupied. Well, that means my rents are too low. That's not a good situation either. You don't want to be 100% occupied. I loved being sitting around 95%. If I can see a 95%, 97%, I'm feeling really good about myself. And then availability, I'm okay being very low, like 1%, 2%, 3% available. That means I have a couple of units. And how good does it make me feel when I say, hey, thanks for coming in, Cyndee? And I go through the whole tour. They're like, you know what? This is what we have. Like, what do you mean? Don't you have more? Like, no, this is what we have. We have 1 unit. Like, we're so full. We're super excited. We would love for you to live here, but this is what we have available. Like, if you're not going to lease it, with all due respect, I'm gonna find somebody else. Creates urgency. Yes, thank you. It creates urgency. Like, oh crap, no. And I love doing the takeaway method. That's a whole sales technique that I go over. But the takeaway method is like, you know what? I don't know if this might be the right fit for you because I have somebody else who's going to come in here and going to lease it. So I don't want you to lease it if you're going to cancel, because I already have other prospects who are ready to come and lease right now. We're 99% or 95%. They're like, oh, no, I'm going to take it. I'm going to take it. This is my part. I'm like, okay, cool. Let's do it. Let's go back to the office and sign some paperwork. So that's another conversation. I love doing that. But yeah, you have to look at, again, market analysis. What's your market at? Look at what's your minimum qualifications. Are you priced at the right price? Should you be okay, this is a topic right now. There is negative rent growth. I said it. Let's get it out there. A lot of these properties, you're seeing negative rent growth. A lot of supply. There's a lot of supply coming in. So there's a lot of availability. And so you're not seeing those aggressive rent growths that you used to see years past. You have to think strategically. Should you be just keep renovating, and now you have vacancy loss because no one's renting them? You're just sitting on stale units. Now, does that make sense to keep pushing, or should we just hold off a second, right? Like, why are we investing more and more expenses, and now we're just sitting on vacant units? Maybe we should pull back and make adjustments. So I just wanted to add that part as well.
I want to expand a little bit on my question. How often do you guys restudy your market?
That's a great question. Cyndee, do you want me to go first?
Go ahead.
Yeah. So I personally look at it every month. I want to see what's going on with the property every single month. I want to know, it doesn't take that long, guys. Really, you could look. There's so many things online that you can review and assess online. You also have your salespeople should be calling and finding out what's down the street. What are they doing? Hey, what is your 1 bedroom going for? What are your 2 bedrooms for? So that's just me personally, but I like to assess it at least once a month.
Well, and that's when I was thinking about that with our asset management team. We always have someone that's their responsibility is to do market survey every month. So we are looking at it every month.
Know the pulse of your market, guys. It's really important because especially with today's market, things are changing. So you might have a property who is slashing prices. They're literally just trying to get anybody in there. $99 deposit, 2 weeks free rent, 1 month free rent. If you don't know what your competition is doing and you're wondering why you're stagnant and you're not getting any leases, that's why it's important. So, like, yeah, you could be checking it, every week, but I would say even when you're doing well, regardless, the least you should be checking is about a month, every month.
All right, perfect. That's great to know. Amit put some questions in the chat, so I want to go ahead and kind of get to his. His first question states, how often as an asset manager do you personally visit the property? And do you surprise the property managers or coordinate with them on visits?
I never coordinate.
Gotta
It's
keep them
always
on their toes, right, Cyndee?
Yeah, you never tell them when you're coming. So I visit the property at least once a year. I will go more often if I'm asked or if there is a need. So if I have a property in distress, then I will go more often. In fact, last year I actually lived at a property for a month. So there was no surprise. I mean, there was a surprise when I got there, but I stayed there, not at the property, but I was there every day for a month just because we had a lot going on. The other thing we do is because we do have an asset management team, there are other people that will go. They go surprise as well. And when they get there, now they do know me, they don't necessarily know the team. So they will first arrive as a potential tenant. And so they will take a tour. And while they're getting the tour, they'll be assessing, the on-site, the grounds, how the apartment's presented. So we do that as well. So the property does get visited multiple times during the year. And then anytime we have an investor, often they'll, call us up and say, hey, I'm going, can I go by the property? And we're like, sure. I mean, they're part owners. They're welcome to go by and take a look. So I do feel like we do get a lot of eyes on the property. So I feel we get to see it quite a bit. And then, of course, we Zoom every week with the property management, and we will have them on occasion just take their phone and walk the property with us so that we're still seeing it. And we don't tell them on those days either. So they don't get to spruce it up. We're like, hey, grab your camera. We want to walk the property today.
I'm going to give a different perspective just a little bit, 'cause just for my own personal experience. This is just what happened at locally here. So when I was on site, this is strictly an on-site perspective. So when I was on site, my vice president would come and walk once a year, and he or she, depending who the vice president was at that time, would make it very known, like, I'm coming, it's coming around the corner, be ready. So I would always tell my team, like, hey, we need to be walk ready. Walk ready means the big cheese is coming in. We need to make sure all the doors look painted, all the laundry doors are painted, all the laundry rooms are clean, because those usually get dusty and there's little lint balls everywhere. The units need to be looking amazing. They're going to want to look at the longest standing vacants. They want to see the office. So, whichever path you choose, Cyndee has some great insight and she loves to do surprise checks. So you have to be ready all the time. On my example, when I was on site, he told me he was coming, and he's like, but it's almost like even more pressure. Like, hey, I told you I was coming. If it doesn't look good, what the heck are you doing? Like, I'm entrusting you to make this look good. So whichever path that you take, they at some point they need to know you're going to come. Maybe you tell them, maybe you don't, but say, hey, I'm going to walk the property. That's the biggest takeaway. Let them know you're going to come, and they say, well, we want to make sure it's always ready. And so you have to be ready at a moment's notice. It could be now, 2 weeks, it could be a month, it could be 6 months from now. But we need to be ready, because I want to make sure when I show up, I see what our guests are seeing, right? What our future residents are seeing. Or same thing, like, I'm going to let you know we're coming this date, but you need to be ready. My expectations are even higher. So however you choose to go about it, just let them know they're going to be inspected, whether that's a surprise or a schedule.
Well, there is a scheduled visit, and that's the investor tour. So they do know there is a time when they do know that people are coming, but that's when the investors are coming. So we try to do an investor tour once a year. So that's when we invite all the investors on a particular day that they are welcome to go. So that is the day that they paint the doors and get everything ready. So at least once a year, it's all spiffy.
Thank you guys for that insight.
I did want to just finish off because Emmett did have an additional question to his, and it was also, do you personally get feedback from tenants as a way to assess how well the property manager is doing?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Yeah, I'm so sorry, guys. He said, also, do you personally get feedback from tenants as a way to assess how well the property manager is doing?
That's a great question.
I do. I ask people, I'm like, so how's everything going here? What do you like? What do you know? I play the discouraged Californian trying to get out of California, wherever, like when I'm going out of state properties. Like, man, it's so crazy, man. California, that's so crazy. How do you guys pay all those gas prices, and how do you pay all those crazy rents? I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to get out of there, man. So what do you think about this property? And like, what do you think? Like, how? And then you know where I'm going with that. How's the management? How's the maintenance? How's the property going? That's just me.
Um, I I don't know. I take a little bit different. Um, that's really interesting because I tell them I'm the asset manager. I never tell them I'm an owner because
True,
I'm
true.
I'm a GP on 99% of the properties that I asset manage. So I always will tell them, and this is a thing to learn for all of you. This is a nugget. I'm telling you, this is a nugget. When you go to a property and you're doing a due diligence, okay? So let's say you're under contract and you're there doing due diligence. Never ever tell them you're an owner. Because what happens is they just complain about everything. They complain about everything. So if you're there, you're doing due diligence, just tell them you're with the office. I'm here with the office. That's all you got to say because they'll just bend your ear and complain. So if I go and I'll just say, I'm just an asset manager, I really downplay my role because I don't want the complaints. I will say, do they respond to your maintenance? I'll ask those kind of questions, but I because otherwise it just becomes a bitch fest. Say that on, I don't know, but I just don't want.
You can
Beep.
say that.
You can say that. We need the
uh,
rule over here, Cyndee. It's all good.
Yeah, I like it. Let's go,
because
Black
they'll
Bridge.
complain about everything. So I really downplay like my role. In fact, I was at a transition where we were doing a takeover. Like it was a property management was being replaced with a new property management, and it was a hostile takeover. Like they didn't know we were coming in, and it was a little bit of it was a hostile takeover, and I did not tell uh, the the old or the new my role because I was there as an owner. I didn't. Neither one of them knew my role, and they couldn't figure it out. And the new property management, after I had been there 3 days, like only one person in the new property management knew who I was after 3 days, because I had been like mopping floors and, just doing everything that needed to be done. This one lady said, "Who are you?" And I'm like, "My Cyndee." And she goes, "No, who are you? Like, I don't know where you fit in all of this. Like, you've been doing this, you've been doing that, and I just don't know who you are, like, in this whole transition period." And by then it had been 3 days and they were the new company. And I just said, "Well, I'm one of the owners." And she was just like, I just could not figure out her. So I did pretty good for 3 days. They couldn't figure out who I was. So,
Yeah, keep the buffer. Keep the buffer. It's good.
yeah. So,
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. I know it's already been an hour. I feel like it always goes by so fast with you
It
guys.
does.
I
It
don't know. I
does.
feel like
Yeah.
it's amazing though. It's a good
It's
thing.
so there's so many topics. Like the guys, we're talking about things that you have to oversee for. Like I said, I can't say it enough. I sound like a broken record. 3, 5, 7 years. There's a lot of stuff that's going to come up. It's so hard to just pinpoint things that in 1 hour. So yeah, thank you for having us. This is amazing. We want to keep coming along as much as possible. So I think I see the comments. So valuable, lots of knowledge, lots of nuggets. Um, happy to help.
We love having you guys here. So if
Yeah.
you guys, we'll have you back again. We definitely will.
For sure. Yeah, our group is eternally grateful for you guys. You guys are our first group of guests that we've had to come on for a part two. So that speaks volumes from you guys. So thank you guys.
well,
Thank
thank you
you.
much for having us. You know us, we can talk all day long.
On
Yeah,
that note, I do have to ask, and my last question,
sure.
tell us or tell our audience, right?
A Big Willie.
Why?
See,
Why should they take your class? You know, what will they get from taking that class? What will they benefit?
because we only have smart people in this group, first and foremost. You'd be silly not to take it. I'm gonna go first, and then I'll let Cyndee close it out. But guys, the reason why you should take this class is because you want to be better than you were a month ago, a year ago, and you have to put yourself in uncomfortable positions, and you have to put yourself in an opportunity that's going to present itself to learn and to grow. You guys will come to our course, you guys will come to our class with some of you are probably on assets right now, and that's great. I had somebody, if you're on this, Mandy, I love your honesty. You came to me because the first time we did one of these, you told me straight to my face, Andrew, the first time I talked where I was in your one of your free classes, I said I didn't want to be an asset manager. She literally said that. She's like, after hearing you, Andrew, I don't want to be an asset manager. It's too much. But then after we spent some time together and we really went over the intricacies and the accomplishments that you can have in turning a non-performing property that most of us, that's what you're going for. Let's be honest. You're going over non-performing properties and you can change it, evolve it, create a culture of empowering culture for your on-site and for creating leaders out of you guys to take something that's not performing and making it amazing. How fulfilling is that? That's why I do this. Like I love doing it. I love helping you grow as an individual, as a father, as a mother, as a husband, as a wife, and as a overall, because we're going over these leadership qualities. And so we're going to help you in so many different aspects other than just asset management. Yes, it covers a lot, but there's things that you're going to take away here that's going to absolutely propel you into a whole new person and a whole new leader. And so we have a lot of smart people here. Reach out to us if it's something that you have questions on. I would be more than happy to jump on a phone call for you. But everyone, 100% of the students have taken our class said, number one, it's worth more value than what you're investing in. And the best investment you can have is in yourself. So I'll leave that, roll it over to Cyndee. But thank you guys. And I look forward to seeing you. Oh, we have an announcement about a date as well. So Cyndee, I'll let her talk about that too.
Yes, we really want to help you because honestly, the properties that you're going to be buying now are distressed. Their loans are coming due. That's why they're selling them, because they all have bridge loans, and you're going to be buying distressed properties. And you're going to need to have the skills to turn it around. And we're going to give you those. We're going to give you the tools that you need. And why recreate the wheel? We've already got it ready for you, and we will teach you everything you need to know to be successful that first year. And then you're just going to duplicate it year after year. So why not take the class? Why not set yourself up for success? We have pushed the date back. We've had several people ask us, just give us a little bit more time. We need to get ready for it. So we've moved the date to March 6th, which is the first Wednesday in March. We do have a $500 off discount that we have. So contact me or Andrew. We can get you that discount code because we want you to take the class. We want you to be successful. We don't want you to have to learn the hard way. Let us help you. And so just take the class. You will not regret it. Reach out to former students. If you don't know who took the class, and before, let us know. We'll give you a couple of people to talk to. Join us on Monday. Every Monday we talk about things. We're going to talk this coming Monday. We're going to talk about delinquencies and how to avoid those because it's coming up. Those things are happening. So we want to help you. We want you to be successful. So please think about it. You've got a little bit of time. Gather up your pennies and take the class. You will not regret it. I promise you.
Yeah, we'll be ready. I know you guys are talking about peak. Peak is that month, I know, but don't worry. This is a 12-week course. We are going to plan accordingly for the peak. So because we know a lot of people are part of the MFM environment. Respectfully, we have people from different groups. We have MFM. We have a lot of different ecosystems. So we are going to be sensitive to the fact that you guys are going to be traveling. So we will discuss that. We have alternatives. We have recordings. We have teachers' hours. So yes, we already have a whole game plan. So again, if you're interested, have questions, Cyndee, myself, DM, message. We'll be love to connect with you and chat with you about it.
Thank you guys again for coming in here with us at Synergy and Multifamily Growth and Mindset Talk.